First step to making a DWC mini bucket out of one of these coffee containers is actually having the coffee. Second step is give her a wipe so that leak seal will stick on right. It's actually important to get this pretty clean because you know how many times your hand's actually touching it. A lot of these actually were just dumped out and vacuum packed into separate little bags and put into the freezer. This time here I'm going to leave this lid on so when I spray it, it just keeps an even lip around there, because on the last ones I had a little bit of overspray on the lips, and when the lid was on, probably not a tight bond, and I did have some leakage, but that's common in almost all deep water culture. But these can also be used just for kratky. Instead of having air stone or air line in it, you just put your water and nutrients in it to whatever level and let the plant absorb it. So you don't have to use these for what I'm using it for, but you can use these in windowsills and all sorts. I just suggest painting them black. The reason why I use leak seal is spray paint will not stick to this very well. It's plastic. You're going to have to do some sanding or some primer to get it to stay properly, but this stuff, it just sticks to pretty much anything if you believe the commercials. A little bit of a difference. So there's a reason why I'm switching, and I think it's mainly it'll be easier when you have that cup sitting in here, that nut cup, that'll pretty much be almost that whole height. So you'll have that much room actually for root space versus, you know, like that much room. So these are still good for whatever you want, but not for what I'm going to be using them for. So you could put vegetables in these in the window, you know, some lettuce and whatnot, but these are going to work better for myself. So I'm going to start with this upside down. That way I can, you know, get into the ledge there and everything, and then it's easier to use the bottom to spin it around while painting. This is a makeshift little paint booth just out of a cardboard box. I suggest doing this with a window or a door open or just straight outside. Another tip is when you're done spraying this stuff, hold it upside down, spray it out a little bit on the side, and that way you won't get this rubbery crap stuck into the nozzle. Didn't remember to actually spray this off to the side first. I always forget that there's a little weird stream that comes out. Alright, so I got the first coat on there. I usually do two. The bottom isn't exactly necessary, but you can if you just have like OCD or, you know, picky eyes. But it works pretty good. That area here that I made really ugly with overspray, I'm actually just going to wait till it dries and kind of peel that section off and probably just touch it up. There you can see I did the flipping it upside down and give it a spray. So as you've seen that I screwed that up, maybe just spray this off to the side for a second to make sure it actually is coming out like spray instead of spraying out like a hose. Here I'm using a suction cup that's supposed to be for an airline in aquariums, and I'm using aquarium safe silicone, but I forgot to do something here. I forgot to sand the area I'm going to put this. Now, if you use silicone against just plastic, sometimes it'll work, but when it's a curve, like I'm gluing it to right here, you need to sand it or score it up so that it has something to bond to. Some of these fell off shortly after the first or second time I put water in them, and some of them actually stuck, so it's up to you. Now you want to drill a hole slightly bigger than your airline or connector that you will be sticking through the side. I use this area here because it is perfect for it. This works best if you use a Ryobi tool, by the way. Keep your damn fingers out of the way of the drill as well. Here's the difference of spraying it with the lid on and off. It's up to you how you want to do it. Sometimes trying to get these air lines and connectors together is a little bit finicky and a bit of a struggle. There is a technique you can try. Dip your connector in water or whatever kind of lubricant you want and try to put it together. And if that still doesn't work, then maybe put the hose in a bit of water as well. But if you try a little bit with the water technique, you can see it's easier to get it on. You either need to measure your basket or know the measurements of your basket and figure out the diameter of hole that you need to cut for it to rest into. There's many sizes of baskets. I'm using a 3.5 inch. Make sure when you measure that you leave extra for that lip to rest on when you cut it out of the lid. I'm using this roll of tape that's never been used in my house for some reason, and a marker. With the measurement of that roll of tape and my marker, it equals just under that 3.5 inches I need. With how snug I get it, it makes it kind of like a bowl on the edge, so any moisture will go back towards the center.